So bile's the main detoxification agent. It's the last case resort detoxification agent, which is why we're shitting our brains out. Because like once you eat the big meal of meat, your body moves that into the intestine, and then it starts detoxifying.
Set some background.
I can't set the background up because I'm going to lose my train of thought. Because the whole thing is just one train of thought. There is no background. The background is everything that's ever happened. Just let me get this on because it's just I am speaking. So when you eat the food, it moves in the intestine, and then basically your body is like, okay, this food pocket and the food matrix thereof with all the gut bacteria and enzymes and fibrous material and porous material and binders and chlorella, if you consume the chlorella, becomes the detoxification pocket. So now that I'm consuming chlorella, when my body detoxifies its stuff into my gut, it bonds to the chlorella. So I no longer have these like pooping flushes, like just these like massive like pooping flushes. Like there's someone I know right now, he's having like he eats seed oils, he gets these same flushes. And the reason is ultimately that your body is using the digestive system to detoxify itself in response to that stimuli. And that if there's chlorella and other things in the gut, I mean, not that you should be eating things that cause that anyway, but if there's chlorella and other things in the gut, it causes the body to detoxify more effectively because those things will actually like a carnivore now when I poop, it's these little well-formed green poops, and they're green because I'm consuming a lot of chlorella, and sometimes they're brown, but if they're brown for like a few days because I'm not consuming chlorella, they pretty much immediately they start becoming liquidy. And the reason for that is because the liquid is basically like water and bile and these chemicals that are liquid chemicals because they're not like chlorella is fibrous and just perfectly calibrated to absorb this stuff. So it's solid and it absorbs. So it just kind of like chia seeds are an example of that as well. But basically psyllium husks, all the things that they recommend that you consume to get rid of diarrhea are basically fulfilling this function, but chlorella would fill it better. And green tea would do an even better job of alleviating the irregular detoxification of this stuff from the tissues into the digestive system via the bloodstream in the first place because of the gentle action of the green tea. So to bring it back around, that's why right now what I'm doing is I'm just sitting here consuming a bowl of green tea and then consume another one. I'm just going to keep doing this while fasting until I've got to poop. And it's going to be a really nice poop. And my brain's going to click on, and the caffeine and stuff from this, though mild, is actually going to be more effective than 30 milligrams of Adderall consumed without this procedure. I'm still going to consume 30 milligrams of Adderall after this, because it's going to be even more effective. My brain's going to like fly off the handles. Not because of the Adderall, because I could consume 60 milligrams of Adderall without doing this, and my brain would still be kind of tamped down because probably not being absorbed via the gut, because the gut hasn't been detoxified via this method yet, not being and basically the gut toxins that haven't been absorbed by the chlorella and the green tea, and just the toxins in general when in metabolically active parts of the body and parts of the body that are relevant for metabolism and digestion, slow down those processes via reactive oxygen species and the prevention of absorption of nutrients and the action of various catalysts and enzymes. Because enzymes are one of the chief things that your body uses to detoxify in the first place. So basically by consuming all the green tea, my body will more preferentially use the green tea catechins to absorb the toxins at the site of the activity instead of the enzymes, preventing the enzyme activity and the catalyst activity, allowing metabolism to naturally increase as the day kind of goes, my circadian rhythm goes, which has this calibrating effect on my HPA axis. We're going to meditate, walk, all these things I do to accentuate this effect. But at this point, I've been getting headaches due to probably enzyme issues. I think probably related to enzymes, because enzymes very, very, very important. I think I have a gut intuition that it's enzymes. So basically, my body is increasing detoxification through the gut because of the high-fat carnivore diet that I'm doing right now, which is increasing metabolism, but that increases detoxification, which means that my gut bacteria are now being faced with more toxins and iron stuff and this iron balance. Because a lot of this comes down to removing iron from the cell at a proper rate, because your body needs iron to carry oxygen via hemoglobin to all the cells and sites of metabolism, like the mitochondria, but also iron because it rusts so easily. It's also one of the main, like the amount of iron in the cell is one of the main things that causes reactive oxygen in species at the cellular level. So iron buildup at the cellular level, like Cole Robinson talks about carnivore causing you to be hypersensitive. That's because of one way that especially lower fat carnivore can cause iron buildup in the cell because your body doesn't have anything to detoxify the your body needs to detoxify via the gut. So even when I'm consuming high fat, I still need some binders cyclically to enhance that function. Otherwise, the gut bacteria, I feel, get overwhelmed. And then I start seeing diarrhea and stuff. And at that point, I start to see headaches. And I think that's because of basically like metabolic problems in my brain, because my metabolism's flying high and then my gut starts kind of slowing down because your body uses, like, the body can use fatty acids to produce enzymes, and then enzymes help with the production of basically all the subvitamins and minerals and subtle amino acid transfers and stuff that you need to have proper production of neurotransmitters. And when enzymes are lacking because of the presence of bad gut bacteria due to excess iron buildup in the good gut bacteria, which is proper because the good gut bacteria are meant to detoxify iron in the first place. But if you don't have enough of them and your gut's not really used to that, you got gut issues, I get gut issues, so that's just what happens, then you're going to see diarrhea, and then that's going to mean that your body's you're no longer going to have the proper bacterial function necessary for proper enzyme production, leading to proper metabolism, vitamin production, and all this stuff. So I was experiencing, the first time I was on carnivore, when I was running into this concept, was basically that my body wasn't absorbing vitamins well, wasn't using vitamins as well, probably, again, because of enzymes, because of gut bacteria, because of detoxification through the gut. So now that I'm adding in green tea and chlorella, I use far fewer supplements to far greater effect with a far better feeling gut, with a far better feeling head, and less mood swings, hunger swings, all these things. Not that those were really an issue, because I could have probably just cycled onto green tea, chlorella, raw milk fasting, various things like that. But I didn't really know that at the time, so I reverted back to the previous diet that I was most comfortable with, which I've been doing at the age of 18, but I later realized that only worked due to a series of subconditions in my body that were no longer present, that I had to then create via this method that I'm doing now. But now that I understand this, I don't really see why I would go back to eating carbs primarily. I'd probably only ever take 2 months off and consume like raw milk, raw honey, yogurt, maybe some other things like fruit. And then once my body basically insulin spikes too much, and then I lead to insulin-induced reactive oxygen species. Because these things are low in iron and high in enzymes and probiotics that lead to iron detox, I would still be detoxifying iron and other things while so my metabolism would remain high. And then once I started experiencing metabolic slowdown, I would then just go back into back onto the pure high-fat keto with the cyclic chlorella and green tea that I'm doing now, which would enable me to continue detox. I mean, yeah, it's keto, it's carnivore, but I mean, it's a ketogenic principle of low fat. So now I'm just comparing. It's lion diet basically with ribeye.
You say keto, people are like, oh, I can eat 5 apples.
But they're just delusional. So whatever. I mean, I guess this is what I realized from Nietzsche, is that you're going to be misunderstood inevitably. So I'm just going to embrace that and just share all the information. And people can misunderstand me as they want and understand me as they want, and leave comments down below for clarification. And the geniuses among you, or the motivated people, will just use what I'm saying as an index of stuff to Google themselves, and they'll come to their own understanding. So ultimately, yeah, lion diet right now, I'm just eating ribeye, salt, water, and then cyclically chlorella and green tea, and supplements, and like B vitamins, sleep minerals, magnesium, salt, melatonin, vitamin D, tyrosine. But basically, though, yeah, you can just keep increasing metabolism, which will increase brain metabolism, which will increase HPA axis function, which will increase my body's ability to regulate itself, which will allow metabolism to continue to increase in a beneficial way, which will allow my body to continue to heal and do stuff and probably reverse aging and make me into a living god. Or at least that's the theory. I mean, Christ himself says, "Do you not know ye are gods?" And I think I'll just end on that note because the water's
talk
done.
about.
No, I'm ending on that note. That's another video.
Go.
But I mean, a longer than 4-day one because ultimately, what the point of these trips to do is to like increase rest and increase activity, so that you spike metabolism, so that your body can adjust, your body and mind can adjust to a higher metabolic rate. And then you go back to your normal life and you just have more ideas. You're like, everything's working better, but you're not really like, you haven't really been taken out of the pattern of your life. You're just better. Because ultimately metabolism has a lot of inertia behind it. So if you're simply in the same rut that if you do what you always done, you're going to get what you always got. So if you're getting a certain metabolic output that's habituated, then you need an interruption in order to get a better output, which requires higher amounts of rest and higher amounts of activity of certain varieties, like walking, certain types of thinking, like just dehabituated novelty type thinking. Because novelty actually at a neurological level increases metabolism. You can study novelty in Parkinson's disease. You can see some really crazy effects. You can see some crazy effects of bringing elderly people into towns that are recreated to look like they're the 50s and they do activities they did in the 50s. So, yeah, basically that's why when I consume all the rest of this green tea, I may just pass out, but I actually probably will pass out, actually, because my body is going to increase metabolism to the point where it now needs to rest to maintain that higher level of metabolism. So then I'm going to nap and then wake up with a higher metabolism and then have a bunch of ideas, eat a bunch of food, consume a bunch of stimulants, get even higher metabolism, write down all the stuff, get all the work done, and then go and crash, sleep for 4 to 8 hours very, very, very deeply, wake up the next day in a good thing, and then just maintain that metabolic rate. But again, because like I'll have slept for like 2 hours in the middle of the day today, so I don't need more than like 6 hours of sleep tonight. I might get 8 because my body might go like hypersleep. It's kind of weird, like hypersleep. It's like when if you've experienced hypersleep, if you've gone whitewater rafting and then you just clock out for like, it just feels like you die and then you're like reborn 11 hours later. You're just like, who am I? What lifetime is this? That's like hypersleep. So you enter hypersleep by spiking metabolism via probably the HPA axis, novelty, activity, and feeding the body. This works really well if your gut's in good condition, but your body also has a lot of mechanisms. So if you're pretty healthy, like younger, these sorts of things stimulate you because your body still has them enzymes and everything to support this sort of catalysm. But elderly people then, or people whose bodies are in diminished condition, do not react well to those sorts of novelty stimuli for that same reason, because their body's diminished, so they have no deeper reserves to tap into. The deeper reserves being enzyme stores, decreased amounts of iron in the lysosomes of the cell, all these sorts of like vitamin stores in the body, digestive ability, circulatory ability, various factors that correspond to metabolic inertia, HPA axis regulation, beliefs about themselves, and all these things. I'm waiting for water to boil right now, so I can pour it in. I added ginger to the green tea mix, and I'm starting to feel the tea hitting me, and it had a stimulatory effect, and now I'm starting to calm down, and yeah, it's very nice. Very, very nice. I think that I will put this on... I think I'll stick this video on the end of the original video. So the first video, so Jason, the first video I filmed, this video, just put them together as one video. And then you'll just release that today as today's video. Because that'll be a good train of thought.